Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Leah, and today I have a question. If you were immortal, what would you do with your time? The only reason I ask that is because we will be discussing the two animes that explore the concept of immortality, To Your Eternity and Frieren's Beyond End Journey. Let's get into the video. Just for a brief overview, To Your Eternity is a story following a main character named Fushi. He is an immortal being who starts off as an orb and it evolves by mimicking people, objects, and animals, slowly gaining consciousness and understanding what it's like to be a human. He's given the task of defending humanity by defeating the Knockers. In contrast, Frieren's Beyond End Journey is a story about an elven mage who survives long after her adventuring party dies. When we follow her in the story, she is on another 10-year quest to defeat the Demon King, find the realm where adventurers' souls go just to meet Himmel, and training an apprentice named Fern and Stark. For this video, I wanted to point out 3 interesting things that I noticed about each of these main characters in relation to their immortality. The first being their relationship with time. In Frieren, it was very obvious in the beginning that she was sort of cold and distant, but we didn't know for what reason. I didn't know if she just either disliked humans, considered their existence to be immaterial, or if that was just her personality. As I continued to watch the series, I felt like her distance wasn't so much personal against humans, but it was a reflection of her relationship with time. Meaning, she has, or she believes she has, all the time in the world. There's no reason to get to know people deeply because in the moment, it's not necessary. She will have time to spend with them later. Or maybe because human life is so fleeting, it's not worth getting to know them quickly because eventually they will die. And this concept was kind of forming in my head, especially after she was captured. So she attacked the demon dignitary and then she was sent to jail. And I remember her saying in jail, I think they had sentenced her to maybe like 10 years plus. And she was like, okay, I have 10 years to spare. I can just sit here. While Fern and Stark were like, but we don't have 10 years. We have to figure out a way to get you out of here. And that was the first time the concept in my head thought about, if I knew I had a long lifespan, like it was guaranteed, would I stress about 1 year, 2 year, 10 years? She must live a very long life if 10 years, wasting 10 years in a cell is not going to bother her. Whereas when I was watching To Your Eternity, it seemed like Fushi was racing against time. Not for himself, but for others. It was a constant, like, I don't understand what's going on. I have been chosen to fight this battle. I don't understand human beings, but the people I keep hanging around with or building connection with die, and I don't want them to continue dying. And so it seemed like he was always racing against time, trying to figure out how to defeat the Knockers. And the difference between the two is Bushi was given a task, whereas it seems Frieren continues to just meander through life, studying magic, studying spells because she has that ability. She has that time. It doesn't seem like she's worried about protecting humanity or fighting for humanity. And when I go back to think about Fushi, I think because he's immortal and he's trying to figure out how to protect others, protect people, he's in a constant cycle of like pain, seeing the people he loves or built relations with die constantly from this evil outside presence. Whereas I think if he was able to spend time with them in a peaceful manner, that maybe the emotional toil of losing his friends would not hurt him as much as it does. And we see that in the second season. The next bit I want to bring up is how they spend their time. And I kind of alluded to that in the first segment. But Frieren spends her time, I would say, for scholarly pursuits, right? So she spends centuries studying magic, forgotten spells, and she believes that it's meaningful. She also understands that the level of magic that humans used to operate at, they no longer operate at. So maybe she feels as she does not need to train magicians to attack, because they're not using magic at the same level as when she was, I guess, younger, or her adventuring party did. And because of her pursuit of knowledge and magical understanding, she kind of isolates herself in just a world of study. So, although Freerin is kind of emotionally distant because she knows she has time, it seems like she moves at a slower, it doesn't seem like she moves at a slower pace. Not really because she's appreciating the moments with people, but from a stance of there's no need for me to rush. Moving on to Fushi, Fushi, like I said before, is constantly running against time, constantly fighting against perpetual attacks. Um, and his time is consumed with protecting others, constantly in motion, fixing things, defending villages, and intervening. Unfortunately, even when Fushi ignores people like he did in season 2, where he tried to go the free run riot, he it's funny because in season 2, Fushi tries to go the free run route. He tries to read all the books he can, stay in one place for not too long, and for several, I think 6 or 7 generations, just walks the earth, never getting close to anybody. However, we know that people are still dying from knocker attacks. We know that Fushi, because of his limited capabilities and understanding, is doing what he thinks is best to protect people. He knows that if he stays in one place for way too long, then the knockers will attack more people because he's there. So he believes that his presence is a hindrance. And so he's constantly trying to remove his presence. Although he comes to understand that that's not saving anybody. You not taking action is not saving any. People are still dying. And in season 2, he wants to protect people like so much that he basically becomes father, like, Mother Earth. He basically becomes Father Earth and puts himself in a like catatonic state and stretches his body all throughout the world so that he can defeat and kill knockers before something ever happens. So in Frieren, throughout this first season, we get to see the slow realization of what she missed out on or what she took for granted. We see that she is learning of what she failed to value in the past. So not only is time abundant for her. But because of her flippantness, knowing that she had the ability to be here forever or just long enough, longer than her humans, she's learning that she should have valued the time she spent with those people because they weren't going to be here long, even though she will be. And so you can tell that she starts the journey emotionally stunted, flippant, kind of about Fern, although caring and teaching, very much so distant. We don't get to see insight into her emotional state outside of the actions she does for others. And as she walks with Stark and Fern, I think it like brings up some nostalgic moments for her. And so she begins to reminisce. And I think as we continue to watch the animated season, not the manga, we're eventually going to see a time where she now embraces being with people. Because right now, I feel like she's kind of passive, allowing things to happen because there's no need for her to be forceful. And I think throughout the series, we're going to see her take a more active role in participating, getting to know people, and understanding humans. Fushi. Fushi is someone who has suffered a great deal for a cause that he did not sign up for. And he is, because he's constantly losing people, I think he is in a loop or a cycle of just endless emotion, pain. Here I go, getting to know another group of humans while I remember the old humans in the past and anticipating what that pain is going to be like. So in season 2, I think it was really unique that the souls of his friend were following him around, even though he could not tell. And he was able to bring them back to life. Having his friends be so flippant with their life bothers Fushi. And he didn't really like it. I'm sure he would have preferred a different way for them to fight, for him to take on all the responsibility and for no one to experience pain. But we don't see that with Frieren. She's actually, I feel like so far what we've seen, all right with human suffering. And the only time she shows any real disdain for something is dealing with demons. But this was just a quick little yap session on how I felt like these two stories really dealt with immortality in a different way. Of course, I like the more gritty, dark To Your Eternity, but and I will say this, it took me a while to watch Frieren because people who didn't even watch anime were talking about how good it was, and I was kind of like, it might not be that good. But it was. It was a good show. I'm glad I watched it. It wasn't overly spectacular or anything, but it's a good watch. I'll be looking for it next season or whenever season 2 comes out or is confirmed. If you've never watched To Your Eternity, you should. It's equally as good, just in a different way. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like To Your Eternity? Have you watched it? What did you think about Frieren? Her view on immortality. If you've read the mangas, let us know what you think. Is that assessment appropriate or not? And I will see you guys in the next video.